Hello, in this video I want to talk about Fnaf Simulator Fangames. I don't mean the ones where you manage your pizzeria, like for example Fnaf 6, even though that's not a fan game, because those can actually work. They just need to be more fleshed out. No, I'm talking about games like Bonnie and Chica Simulator, and a little unique one that's called Fnaf Simulator. Of course there are other ones, but these are the most popular and well known. I personally don't think these games work, and I will explain why. And after I do that, I will propose a new idea that may fix the issues I talk about in these types of games. So stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe, and let's start. First, I would like to say that all of these games have been made with a ton of effort. I'm just mostly gonna complain about the gameplay. I'm not saying I wish these games weren't made, because others enjoy them, and I am happy for the people that like them. After FNAF came out, many people thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could play as the animatronics? And so people made fan games where you do just that. In theory, this is a good idea. You are the one that gets to traumatize others this time. So let's look at the gameplay. We start at the show stage. We have to wait for this movement counter to go down. Then we move. Then again. Then again. Again until we reach here. Let us make sure the cameras are up. Get in. Click attack. And that's it. There are other Chicas you can play as from the other games, like Phantom Chica. You click distract until eventually Springtrap kills the player. You can also buy items that make the gameplay easier. So we just clicked and then we waited for the night guard to have the cameras up, and then we clicked attack. This was really simple, and it gets really repetitive. You also need to do this several times in order to unlock other characters. Now, you don't always kill the guard. Sometimes they spot you and prevent you from killing them. In that case, you try again. There is barely any skill involved, just luck, and that does not make the game very fun. Office FNAF gameplay was fun because it was very tense, with the players struggling to maximize their chances of survival while minimizing resource usage. And I get that this can be really difficult to implement in a FNAF simulator, but that's what I'm gonna try to do later in the video. Don't get me wrong, this game is harmless, but I can see the missed potential. There is no real strategy, no real planning, only one animatronic is active at a time, that being you. And I don't mean that letting the player just camp at the doors to drain the power. That would make the gameplay even more boring, but just something a little have an actual plan, strategizing. So this game doesn't work due to its simple and repetitive gameplay that has no real depth. The idea of playing as the enemy sounds fun, but when you actually take the animatronics for a ride, it's not fun. You don't have resource management, you don't have to keep track of multiple enemies to ensure victory. And I get that it is really difficult to do. Designing a game like this is no easy task, but I want something better than this. There are things you can buy to make it more exciting, like items, even an item that gives you more points but you move slower. But what about this game? This is a little different from ones like Bonnie and Chica Simulator. It doesn't have you waiting for your movement counter to go down. No, you physically move in a three-dimensional environment. There are a lot of FNAF games included, and each animatronic has its own perks to spice up the gameplay. This game is really polished, it looks amazing and a lot of effort was put into it. But yeah, I also don't like the gameplay of this one. I have to admit that the perks and the awareness meter do make the gameplay more deep. You need to try to make the guard not see you on the cameras. But I feel like at its core, it's also just get to the night guard and wait for your opportunity to walk in and hopefully kill them. For some reason, you cannot go to another room while the camera is active. That's just annoying. There are some more interesting characters like Springtrap with his insanity meter and his quick time events, but I found that he is just also go and hope the guard doesn't notice you. Also, I'm literally Springtrap, bro. Fucking Springtrap. I'm in your office and you're telling me I have to retreat because you saw me? The concept is really cool. You get to walk around as the animatronic and hunt down the guard. But in reality, it's just walking over to the office and hoping to get lucky. If you really deconstruct the gameplay down to its absolute core, it's not much different than Bonnie and Chica Simulator, other than, you know, it not being just pressing buttons, you actually have to physically walk around. There's a little more depth added to this one than like Chica or Bonnie Simulator, but it still doesn't change the core gameplay. And this game is really well made, but I don't like the gameplay. Sure, the perks are a nice addition, but I never felt like I was really missing out if I didn't use them. This game is also repetitive and not really fun. Yeah, it's cool when you play it for the first time, but soon enough you realize it's really simple and luck based. How do we fix this? Well, before I tell you about my idea to fix these problems, I just have a little disclaimer. My idea that I'm about to propose is also flawed. It's not fully fledged out, and if I'm being honest, a Fnaf simulator at its core is not the greatest idea. It has many flaws. Playing as the monster takes away the horror factor, which made the player stress and become paranoid, which tied into the game's mechanics because then the player used more resources. The core of FNAF is managing many things going on, and that's also really difficult to implement when the animatronic is the player. At the end of the day, from the animatronic's perspective in FNAF games, all they do is try to attack us, and we do something to prevent it. The animatronic doesn't have a strategy, they just go and hope you don't do it. It's fun for the player because the player actually has a game to play with trying to keep them out. They have to make sure everything goes smoothly and that they have enough resources, and they need to know when to defend themselves from threats. But the animatronics just come and hope you don't get rid of them. This isn't an issue because, you know, the player is the player, not the animatronic. But it becomes a problem when the whole point of the game is that you are the animatronic. And unfortunately, the RNG hoping the guard doesn't prevent you from attacking part, I think is rooted deep into the core of FNAF. So I think that a FNAF simulator will never 100% work, but I wanna try my best. You know those tower defense games? Well, what if we made it a little like that? Let's use FNAF 1 as an example. You would not be controlling one of the animatronics, but multiple. Over time, you'd get some points. Gears, energy, whatever you want to call it. You can use this energy to move an animatronic or to upgrade an animatronic. Upgrading the animatronic would improve the scare factor of the animatronic. Every time you load up a knight, the guard is assigned a weakness. It may be a weakness of Bonnie, for example, and if Bonnie is close, the guard will spend extra resources to watch out for Bonnie and pay extra attention to him. Of course, the player would not know what the guard is scared of. They have to figure that out by paying attention to the behavior of the night guard. The higher the scare factor of the animatronic, the more scared the guard is, and in the harder difficulties, the guard may even have double fears, like Freddy and Bonnie. Both have to be close for the guard to use up more resources. If close to the office or at the door, the animatronic will occasionally haywire and move back. This is so that the game isn't too easy. It wouldn't be very fun if you just camped at the doors. You can also spend energy to make small distractions. Like if Chica is in the kitchen, you can make a loud distraction by making her make a lot of sound there. Then the guard will check, and an animatronic can sneak into the guard's office while they are occupied. If the animatronic the guard is more scared of makes the sound, then the more likely the guard is to check that sound and spend more time checking it. This makes it so you can plan out where the animatronics should go. Also, if you're looking for extra energy, you can deactivate an animatronic for like 20 seconds. This is so that if you are not using Foxy, for example, he can still be of some use. However, deactivating an animatronic will make the time for the guard go by faster. The more robots that are napping, the faster the time goes. This is to ensure that the player does not just rack up energy in the first 4 hours and go absolutely bonkers at the end. I feel like my idea adds exciting new opportunities for deeper gameplay. The player has to strategize on where to put each animatronic, and whether to sacrifice some for a temporary period for more energy. There is also resource management with said energy. The player has to plan out their attacks and gather information on the Night Guard based on how the Night Guard behaves when close to some animatronics. This makes the gameplay more dynamic. However, obviously, my idea is very far from perfect. It's still repetitive, and I can see it getting boring pretty fast. Plus, the whole idea of managing every animatronic can be really difficult. Like in FNAF 2 when there's fucking 10 that you need to manage, and in FNAF 3 where there's only one that can kill. I feel like the formula needs to be tweaked for each game, but I think that it may work. It is still RNG based, unfortunately. Like, what if you don't get lucky with the fears of the guard and end up finding out way too late? Like, this is literally what I said before. A FNAF simulator is a concept that is flawed in its core. there are some aspects that will work poorly no matter what you do. If you put sprinkles and icing on a piece of shit, it's still a piece of shit. Did these games even need fixing? If I'm gonna be honest, no. They're fine as is. I don't like the gameplay, so I tried tweaking it so that it fixes some of the problems that I pointed out, and I think I was successful with that, but some problems still persist. Plus, my idea is super complicated and convoluted. It would be much better if I could make some sort of demo to visualize what I mean, but I'm not good enough to make a game. Trust me, I tried. It didn't go so well. In the end, it is really difficult to make the gameplay of a FNAF simulator replayable and fun. It is very hard to make it an actual FNAF simulator and have it not be RNG based, and have it be fun and dynamic. This is exactly why I feel like these games don't work. And if you enjoy these games, great! Fantastic for you, I'm very happy. And you know what, the people who made these games should be proud of what they made. But I personally just don't like the gameplay. And okay, I'm not a master game designer. I mean, I haven't ever designed a game. I'm not even a game designer. But for me, it seems really difficult to fix this flawed concept. So what do you think? Do you have any ideas for what can be done to fix the gameplay of FNAF simulators? Or do you just want to leave them as they are? I mean, they're harmless games. I just wanted to talk about them because I recently really thought about them and wanted to get my thoughts out. Like and subscribe. This was GameSpeaking, and goodbye.